everybody, it's Sam and Tari here, and welcome to another episode of Sam Talks Twitch Plays Pokemon. Now, the thing is I have delayed this for so long. I feel bad, but the thing is like I said in the previous announcement, my computer got a virus, and when I finally rebooted everything to its factory, I refreshed it to its factory settings, everything was gone, and I had to re-download everything, and I was like, okay, and it was just craziness. Anyways, so Twitch Plays Pokemon. The thing is, I got into it around Crystal, and then once they moved on to, Crystal. Once they moved on to, Emerald version and all that other stuff, I was really super stoked. I felt like this was an amazing series, and I followed Emerald all the way to the end, and then they were like, okay, well, we're gonna do, Diamond and Pearl, or we're going to do Platinum. They ended up doing Platinum, and I was like, yeah, and I followed Platinum all the way through. And then after Platinum, I started kind of falling out of it, and I don't really know how to explain it. It was just one of those things where I just started not getting that interested in it. The thing is, it's like I always say, the thing that makes Twitch Plays Pokemon really good is the community. And the community is amazing, but at the same time, sometimes the community that develops these backstories and this lore for Twitch Plays Pokemon, sometimes it gets to be a little too much. And sometimes people are trying to mix things, they're trying to pull lore from forever ago, and they're trying to make it into whatever they want, or they're trying to make it into or they're trying to apply it to the current situations. Like, people are taking stuff from the first generation with Red, like with the whole Bill thing, and they're trying to extend out the Bill thing, and sometimes, Bill being the bad guy, it was funny for, like, the first three? Yeah. It was funny for the first 3 seasons. Ow, I'm getting a pimple, I think. It was funny for the first 3, seasons, and then after that, or the first 3 generations, I don't know why I'm saying seasons. First 3 generations, and then after that, it just started to fall out. It just didn't really make any more sense. And because he doesn't even, I don't know, he wasn't really in any of these places, and you start adding in PC owners from other places, and how they all report back to Bill, and yada yada yada, and it just, I don't know, for me it just started getting a little bit too sketchy, and it ended up just being a little bit of a waste of time. Wow, English is very hard today. Okay, so anyways, HeartGold. I think they played HeartGold. Yeah, they played HeartGold. Okay, so as you can see, it's been so long. Right now, as I'm recording this, Twitch is playing Black version 2. They played Black, which was fine, and they ended up they're playing Black version 2, which is on a randomizer, which I don't know whether or not I agree with it being played on a randomizer. I know that they wanted to play it on a randomizer because it was in the same setting as it was in Unova still, but at the same time, Black version 2, or the version 2s in general, they have a different storyline, and you go to different towns, and it's a lot different, to me. And I don't think that they needed a randomizer, because as you know, the only reason they ever used a randomizer was when they were replaying something. They only used the randomizer 2 other times, and they used it on FireRed, and they used it on HeartGold, which is what I'm talking about now. And now they're using it again for Black version 2 because they feel like they're revisiting a place, but I don't know, don't care, not my thing. Anyway, so going back to HeartGold. So HeartGold, as you can see, we chose a female, and her name was Awu. They called her Awu. And because they called her Awu, as you can see by the ears on her hat, and the tail, they considered her at first to be a werewolf. They're like, okay, Awu is her own little creature. Now, the thing is from what I saw of Awu, she was a medium, she was supposed to be a medium, and she already had this really powerful persona. And she kind of went on this Pokemon journey as prophesized by the mediums, who said that she had this strange power about her, which was, of course, the voices. Now, this storyline changed. And over time it changed, as usual, as per Twitch Plays Pokemon. Like, the character will change about a bazillion times, unless they're Napoleon, which I loved his storyline. So anyways, so from what I remember of Awu, basically what they ended up developing her as was they ended up developing her as someone who was raised by Pokemon, and therefore thought she was a Pokemon. But then when she realized that she was not a Pokemon, or when she found out She was raised by Pokemon, but then she was found by humans. Then she was taken in by humans, but she always thought that she was a Pokemon. When she finally accepted the fact that she was a human, she found out that because she was raised by Pokemon, she didn't fit in. She didn't fit in with the Pokemon because she didn't have powers, like they did. She couldn't create electricity, or she couldn't do the things that the Pokemon did. She didn't have their super abilities, and she couldn't be caught, you know, and therefore was not really a Pokemon. Then with the humans, because she had such a animalistic behavior about her, and because she did speak funny, and because she did like tend to bite people or act really animalistic, she found out that she didn't really fit in with the people as well. And so she was like kind of torn between these two identities, where she couldn't really decide whether she was a full Pokemon or whether she was a full human. And then eventually, somewhere in the storyline, she reads about werewolves, which are humans which turn into wolves, and blah 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 blah. And this kind of settles her identity as being Pokemon and human, and she's fine with that. And she's like, well, see, now I'm both. But at the same time, while she's happy that she identified herself as being a mixture of both, and that's what creates her as a whole, she's still really, it's still really sad, because now she realizes that she really just does not fit in anywhere. And that kind of destroyed her. Now, like, on the inside, it made her really sad. The thing is I really just don't know very much about Awoo after that, because I kind of fell out for the longest time, just because of things. I guess I just got busy, or I just wasn't interested. The thing that interested me the most was about Awoo's Pokemon, and, you know, just her party. Like, she ended up getting a Trapinch, which everybody was like, oh my god, the traitor. As you know, the last time we got a Trapinch, we ended up releasing a lot of Pokemon because people were trying to get the Trapinch out of the PC. And this kind of made him known as the traitor or something, or the betrayer, or the traitor, or whatever, or PCB, because everybody wanted, of course, a Flygon at the end. They wanted a dragon, and so, you know, he ended up being blamed as being responsible for the massacre that occurred in Emerald. I forget what they called him though. And the thing is like, this new one was, I think it was a girl. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a girl. But we ended up having her in the party. This was randomized, so yeah. She never became a Flygon. She ended up staying a Vibrava, I believe. Fuck if I know. Yeah, I don't know. And, okay, and the main Pokemon, which was to focus on, was, Kenya. So for those of you that have played Gold and Silver, and even HeartGold and Soul Silver, you know that a guy ends up giving you a Spearow, which has mail on it, because he wants you to deliver it to his friend. And this bird is always named Kenya. And Kenya, you can either keep Kenya and keep her in the PC, and you can evolve her into a Fearow, you can have her in your party, whatever. You can either keep Kenya, or you can return her to her owner. And I always return her, which is really stupid, because then I have to go out and catch a Spearow and evolve it into a Fearow, and it's really fucking stupid, but I feel bad about stealing someone's Pokemon. Anyways, so you can either keep her, or you can give her back. Well, the thing is, this was a randomizer, and we had no idea what Kenya was gonna be. So everybody was really looking forward to Kenya. And what Kenya ended up being was a Groudon. And so we have this huge, massive Groudon, which has this itty-bitty little letter, and so Kenya the mailman started kind of being a thing, where basically, you know, Kenya would just burst into people's houses like the Kool-Aid Man and be like, here's your package, you know, and it ended up being this huge thing. And Enya actually had water absorb, which was really fucking cool, because as you know, Groudon's rock fire kind of thing, and so it's one of those things, or it's dragon fire, something like that. I just said rock fire, and I hope fucking not. Anyway, so Kenya ended up having water absorb, which means, you know, obviously water absorb, it absorbs water, and it ends up healing itself because it has water absorb. So we literally had the best Pokemon we could ever have. It was, you know, we had something that could use fire, and earth powers, and dragon powers, and it had fucking water absorb, which water was really its only weakness, except for the dragon stuff. You know, but water was really its only weakness, if I'm getting the type right. And it had water absorb, so this was the best Pokemon we could have ever had. And guess what happened? We put it in the daycare, and then guess what happened? We fucking released it. my god, it was I think this is why I stopped watching it. Like, the minute I saw that Kenya was released, I'm like, fuck it, I give up, I'm done forever, just done. So so sad and terrible. English, guys, English is hard, and it's my native language, which, So, basically, you know, after Kenya was released, people were like, what the fuck, you know, what happened? And there was all these memorials of Mailman Kenya, you know, and it was just, so bad, you know, and I don't even really know how to explain it. But then after that, I just kind of lost interest. Now, the thing with awhile is there was something about being able to stop Bill. Like, HeartGold was our final chance to stop Bill, or it was the guy that we had to get his number because he would give us all the information about Bill. And the thing is the whole thing ended up revolving around Bill again, which is something that I absolutely hate. I think the Bill thing should just die, yada yada yada, like with Platinum. Platinum was really good. It really didn't focus on Bill, and even when Bill was in it, he was really just an observer. You know, and it was just one of those things where I really, really liked how it developed the character before it developed the Pokemon. So we actually got to learn more about Napoleon than we got to learn about freaking anything else. And then we had the Pokemon side story, which was really cool. I liked the whole love story and affair going on with the Pokemon on the side, but I liked how it mostly focused on Napoleon. Same as I would have liked this to really focus on awhile. I liked her Pokemon, and I liked everything else about it, but at the same time, I just felt like I didn't really get to know the character the way I wanted to. Granted, I probably just didn't spend hours reading the Reddit, but at the same time, a lot of the time, it's really hard to read up on the character. You can go into the day's discussion, but at the end of the day, no matter what, you have 5 or 6 different versions of the same character. Everybody's writing something different, and there's not one that's considered real, you know, the real main storyline compared to the other 5. So you really just kind of have to read it yourself, and you have to develop your own idea about what you think is more correct, what you follow the most, and yada yada yada. So yeah, I really just can't tell you that much more about this situation. But one thing I can tell you is we did have a Jigglypuff, which was known as Dovahkiin, or something like that, or she was the Dragonborn, and basically there was a Skyrim reference, and it's literally because she had all these moves that could take down a dragon. Like, this is before Fairy type even existed, so she still had all these dragon type moves that she could easily take down a dragon with. Now, I don't remember if she ended up in our main party. I really just don't. I don't even know. I can't, as I'm recording this, I can't tell you who's in the main party, even though I'm playing, like, the final battle. So, really, it's just, I just don't know how to explain it. As you can see, I really just didn't get into it. I know that we evolved some Pokemon, didn't evolve some Pokemon, we released a bunch of Pokemon, Kenya was one of them. Awhile kind of developed, but in a sense, she never really fully got developed. Oh, right, that's what I was gonna get to, okay. I totally almost forgot. The final battle. This is when I finally came back into it. I had heard some rumors that the final battle with Red was going to be something really huge. And the thing is I didn't know what it was. And I had heard that it was going to be something amazing, so I ended up logging in long enough just to watch the final battle. And I only ended up getting the very last bits of it. But instead of it being Red, the streamer actually made it so that awhile was fighting, I want to say Alice, but ended up fighting Alice from FireRed, and I'm not even kidding, like, this was actually really cool. So our last randomizer, which was FireRed, you know, had our main character, which was A, which was just like the one in Emerald, except this one was Bill's daughter. And so on Mount Silver, we actually, instead of fighting Red, we actually fought A, and we fought her randomized team. And it was just crazy, like, honestly, like, it was just back and forth, these Pokemon were just kicking each other's asses, and it was only at the last minute we ended up beating her, and honestly, it was amazing. And that was probably the best surprise that could have ever happened. And I totally almost forgot about the biggest part of the game that I ever paid attention to. So yeah, so this was actually a really cool deal, and I was actually really happy with how it turned out. Now granted, some people found out before that A was going to be in place of Red, and the streamer got, like, really upset because of people spilling the beans about it. It was supposed to be a surprise. But I don't know, I tend to think of the streamer as being moody anyways, because every time someone posts something about him, he's either cussing someone out, or he's basically saying that the Reddit's a bunch of tards or something, and, you know, so his biggest fan base, he's basically screaming at them. So I hear he's a pretty decent guy, but he's also an asshole. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I have on this. I really can't say much more about the series, because like I said, Awu went through this identity crisis, but ultimately she was kind of left out of it. The only thing that ever showed up about Awu was that she really had no idea how to communicate with humans, and so every time she found one that wanted to challenge her, like, she wanted everybody to be her friend. And she felt like just because she battled somebody and she won, they were automatically her friend, and she kind of wanted to take everybody with her on this adventure. Even her rival, whom she was supposed to hate, she ended up loving him, and she was like, ah, you're my friend, you know, kind of thing. I don't know, and she was always saying, I'm gonna make that person my human, you know, like, which meant my friend, and it was just, I don't know, it was really complicated, really weird, and I just really couldn't follow it as much. I wish I would have given it more, I guess, more attention, because I love talking about Twitch Plays Pokemon, and I really, really like giving you the highlights of what happened, and what Pokemon were released, or what our greatest Pokemon was, and why, and etc, 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 but I honestly just don't have anything. I'm trying to think where the Oracle showed up, but I don't. Okay, the Oracle was in next.
Just to clear things up just a minute, basically, as you can see, our party is here, so I made a mistake when I said that the Oracle was actually next gen. The Oracle, as you can see, is our shiny Xatu, which we managed to catch, which is our first shiny that we've ever caught in Twitch Plays Pokemon history. We also have Lord Armor, Lord Skull, Lord Helix, which are all part of the Fossil series, as well as our Trumpava, which was our Vibrava that I mentioned earlier, and thus this era was known as the generation of the gods, and the gods were all coming together to overthrow Bill, as far as I knew. But basically we had a lot of the god Pokemon that were coming together for the first time since forever, and restoring balance, and it was just a wonderful and great time for everyone. Also, as far as our rival goes, Sabrina, as she was called, I do believe, even though our rival is a male, we actually made the character female throughout the history of, throughout the lore as it developed, and Awu eventually started a relationship with Sabrina, which would be our first lesbian relationship in Twitch Plays Pokemon history as well. I'm sorry that I missed all this information before, but you can see the final party here, and enjoy the rest of the video as I make a fool of myself.
Okay, because the thing is like, I don't even know, there's a lot of stuff going on with Te'ern and blah, and the fossils being the gods, and Lord blah and Lord blah, and the thing is like, they're mixing lore from so many different things that I tend to get confused per gen what's going on. But next gen's actually pretty cool, so I'll be talking about Black here soon. But yeah, so anyways, that's pretty much all I have for this. Usually these things are a little bit longer because I have so many things to discuss and what I liked and what I didn't like. I liked the fact that Awu had an identity crisis. I thought that was great. I liked how there really wasn't too much Bill in this, because I think that Bill is starting to take away from the storyline and starting to take away from the lore. Awu was not as intense as Napoleon, so I was kind of disappointed, because after the character development of Napoleon, I expected other characters to be just as developed, since character development went over so well with Napoleon and people were more interested in him than with the Pokemon themselves. I do like the fact that, you know, we had Kenya. Like, that was the funniest and best thing ever, was the whole Kenya bit. But I'm really sad Kenya got released, and I think that was pretty much the dumbest decision. And everybody's like, oh, but we don't want an overpowered Pokemon. Well, so what? We deserve one every once in a while. You know, we deserve another M4, and Groudon or Kenya would have been our new M4. Like, that would have been amazing. But yeah, that's really all I have on this. So go ahead and hit like if you like listening to Twitch Plays Pokemon. Make sure that you watch the highlights for yourself. There are people that constantly, you know, take the highlights from day 1 through whatever, and they tell you what happened with clips from the actual stream. You know, they're not very long. They're usually only about 10, 12 minutes, maybe 20 minutes at the most, as someone goes through and explains everything that happened. So if this is something that you are still interested in, you can still watch the highlights from previous gens. Also, there are some save files which contain the data from other gens, which means you can usually, if you know how to do all that stuff with inputting code and blah in your emulators, you can actually play these games for yourself. and kind of just use the same party and kind of just go on your own merry way and copy everything and kind of just play it for yourself to see what it was like. Also, what was I going to say? Also, if you're interested in watching Twitch Plays Pokemon, visit twitchplayspokemon.net. They are currently playing Black version 2. So like I said, hit like if you like these videos and want to see more. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you liked about HeartGold. Like, honestly, I missed out so much, and I missed out on everything, pretty much. So if there's anything that you like about HeartGold in particular that I missed, or maybe that I just didn't cover because I wasn't paying attention and I didn't really look it up, go ahead and leave that in the comments down below, and I'll make sure that I read it, and yeah, and keep me up to date, because I really do like this. Next, I'll be talking about Pokemon Black, and after that, maybe I'll be talking about Pokemon Black 2, because I'm pretty sure they're close to being finished by the time I'm making this video. I came in late to that too, so I have a lot of research to do. Anyways, this has been Samatari out. I'll talk to you guys later. Alright, ciao you guys.